What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to have a little bit of a chat about some option cards. Yesterday I showed you all the new red option cards. It seems like it would be a little bit rude right now if I didn't go ahead and show you all of the blue option cards. So, maybe we should have a little bit of a look at those. And let's start off having a look at Boring Storm. A weird kind of card. It is a 1-cost blue option card that reads, draw 1. You pay 1 resource to draw a card. And you know what? I'm kind of in on it. If I'm 100% honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I am in on this. Now, here is where this kind of card comes in handy, and we've learned this from many card games over the year. If you've got a really, really tight deck list, and you've got no room for extra cards, and you are struggling to keep it to a nice tight 50, this isn't the card for you. It's not going to work. If, however, you've got a deck you really like, but you are just worried about drawing enough cards to get it set up, this is the card for you. And that is the use for this card, very simply. You're not doing much here except cycling through your deck. You're giving up a memory to gain a card, but let's say you're playing something like Metal Garurumon, still one of the cards I'm probably most excited about. When you attack, you ready yourself. Very good card. But the problem is you kind of need to get set up. You probably want Garurumon to give yourself security attack +1. You probably want Garurumon to get rid of your opponent's evolution sources, and Gabumon to get rid of your opponent's evolution sources. At which point you're probably looking at a fairly specific evolution line. Yeah, use this. And then you're fine. And as a fun little side note, when it comes out as a security card, you draw 2 instead. So unlike a bunch of the red ones we looked at yesterday that had no security skills, this one totally does. It would be useful to put it side by side with Hammer Spark, which is a very similar card, except instead of draw it's memory, and instead of a 1 cost it's a 0 cost. Play it to gain a memory, add security to gain 2 memory. Hammer Spark is great if you need a bit more memory to do a bit more stuff. Boring Storm is great if you just need a little bit of extra draw power to make sure that you're actually getting the evolutions that you need. But if that one's a bit boring for you, how about V Nova Blast? A 2-cost option card that gives one of your Digimon Jammer until the end of your turn. Oh, yeah, no, this is really cool. Now, Jammer, for those of you that may have forgotten, means that the Digimon will not be destroyed in a fight with a security Digimon. When you attack your opponent's security stack, either you hit an option or a tamer card, at which point you just activate the security skill, if there is one, which there isn't always, we've learned. But if you hit a Digimon card, you compare power, and the security card will be destroyed anyway. But your attacking Digimon will also be destroyed if the power of the security Digimon is equal to or higher than the power of your attacking Digimon. Unless you've got Jammer. In which case, you are guaranteed to survive. Now, we have seen a couple of Digimon out there that have Jammer. The difference here is anything can have Jammer. And the thing we find is that we've got some Digimon that we really want to attack with. But actually, it's too awkward. Because when we attack with them, they might go down. And we cannot afford for them to go down. And that's a very bad thing. If you just want a random Jammer, how about Frigimon? Not a particularly great card stats-wise, a very standard 4,000 level 4 Frigimon is the very definition of fine. But it's got jamming. And that's what we generally see as a general rule. There are a bunch of cards out there that have jamming, but they are generally not particularly great. This makes a huge difference because you can give jamming to anything. You can take a card that is inherently great. I mean, take something like Metal Garurumon. We've used it as an example before, but it's an exciting card and it backs up this point as well. It is an 11,000 power Digimon, but when you attack, you make it active. And on the one hand, 11,000 power is high. On the other hand, let's go to the starter decks and have a look at level 6 red Digimon. Oh yeah, they've both got 12,000 power. Oh. Well, okay, let's stay out of the starter deck then and look at level 6 red Digimon. Oh, they've both got 11,000 power. Either way, you're going down there. You are not surviving that fight. If you hit a level 6 red Digimon, that's a bad thing. But if you've got jamming all of a sudden, you do survive the fight, and that's absolutely huge. Because it's not just surviving the fight, it's surviving the fight and then making yourself active and then being able to fight again. And this is another thing we need to point out about the wording here. It says until end of turn. Which means if you've got something like Metal Garurumon, yeah, not an accidental example, where you are allowed to attack multiple times during your turn, and if you really want to take the mick, I mean, why not use the Garurumon from New Evolution that can make one of your Digimon active when you play it and use it 3 times or more during the turn? And you've got jamming for all of those activations. Every time it comes out, every time you attack, till the end of the turn. That's when this becomes amazing. I'm not loving the security skill that adds it to your hand. I mean, it's better than not having a security skill. The problem is, it just gives you a slight card advantage. It doesn't actually allow you to play the card. You've still got to pay 2 next turn to play it. But in terms of giving you jamming, yeah, this is nuts. Now, artwork-wise, Heart's Attack is just about the cutest, most awesome, most brilliant card in the set. I'm kind of in love. But is it any good? Well, it's a free-cost option card, and you discard all the evolution sources from one of your opponent's Digimon, which makes it one of the, forgive the phrasing, bluest cards we've seen so far. Now, let's not forget we do have a similar but souped-up version of the card, Howling Crusher, which is a 7 cost that removes all evolution sources from all of your opponent's Digimon. This is a, we call it Nail Crusher in the past, it's something along those lines, Summon Crusher. This is a souped-up version of it because it gets rid of all evolution sources from all Digimon rather than all evolution sources from one Digimon. But make no mistake about it, it's still a rather spiffingly good card. And the rule here is very simple. If all you need to do is just make sure there is a Digimon with no evolution sources, Heart Attack is amazing. I've already mentioned where Garurumon that gives you security attack +1 if any of your Digimon have no evolution sources. And it only needs to be one of them. We've got the Yamato Ashida, the blue tamer from the starter deck, that at the beginning of your turn gives you +1 memory, while there is a Digimon with no evolution sources, though it is very much worth bearing in mind here that your opponent can always just evolve one of their Digimon that has no evolution sources on their turn. Then when it passes to you, there aren't any without evolution sources. You've been warned. If you want an example from New Evolution, we've got Dolphmon. If your opponent has a Digimon with no evolution sources, you get an extra 1,000 power, and that is an inheritable skill, so it's Digimon that evolve from it. And my point here is that this is what blue decks want to do. Now, it is worth pointing out Wanyamon here, because Wanyamon gives you an extra 2,000 power as an evolution skill, but only if your opponent has 2 Digimon with no evolution sources. In which case, this is going to be slightly underpowered as a card. That's when you want Howling Crusher back. But if you're just playing the kind of blue deck where you need a Digimon with no evolution sources to activate like all of your skills, Heart's Attack is nuts. No security skill, unfortunately, so that is significantly weaker and does make me a little bit sad. I'm sorry. But it will activate so many blue cards we've already seen, not to mention almost certainly countless that we haven't. I think this is one we need to start taking rather seriously. And finishing off then, we can have a little bit of a look at Giga Cross Freezer, a 4-cost option card. And it says that all of your opponent's Digimon with no evolution sources cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. And the great news is that as a security card, it says that all of your opponent's Digimon with no evolution sources cannot attack until the end of this turn. So either way, they give your opponent one turn where they can't attack, if they have no evolution sources. Yeah, can you already see the combo? I mean, it's expensive. It's very expensive. But if you combine Howling Crusher here and Giga Cross Freezer, you remove all evolution sources from all of your opponent's Digimon, and then all of their Digimon with no evolution sources can't attack. But that is, of course, all of them. And, very much worth pointing out here, that when you first play a Digimon, you're not allowed to attack with it. So you basically make your opponent take a turn off of attacking. And yes, admittedly, it's only one turn, and yes, you do have to pay a total of 11 memory for the privilege, but you are literally stopping your opponent attacking with anything for an entire turn. We all must be able to see quite how ridiculous that is. Outside of that, this just buys you time. Of course, we have seen a powered-down version of this. We saw it back in the starter decks, and again, like we might have expected from the cards we've seen here, it just stops one of your opponent's Digimon with no evolution sources attacking until the end of next turn. It is a 2-cost card. It is Sorrow Blue. It also stops them blocking. So Sorrow Blue stops them blocking as well, but it only works on one Digimon. This works on all Digimon, but it's twice as expensive, 4 rather than 2, and it doesn't stop your opponent's Digimon blocking. Clearly an extremely powerful card. It needs to be a combo card. It needs to be in the blue deck where you're getting rid of evolution sources as a matter of course, but if you are, this is awesome. Also worth pointing out as a quick note, the security skill, depending on when it comes out, could be really good or really bad. If it comes out the first time your opponent attacks and they're planning on multiple attacks, this will stop all of those attacks. They attack once, they hit this card, none of them can attack, they're done. Brilliant. But if they hit this on their last attack of the turn, they hit it, your opponent's Digimon cannot attack until the end of this turn, they have none that they want to attack this turn, so although it technically has a security skill, in reality, it does not have a security skill. Boo hiss, etc. Still a phenomenally powerful card, just make sure you do it in the right way. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the new blue option cards, and when we got a pair of cards that can literally stop your opponent attacking with anything for the entire turn, that seems pretty powerful to me. But at this stage, I'd like to know what you think about these cards, and I'd like to know what your plans are, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.